with me. Thank you everyone for joining us today on behalf of the team here at Happy Linen. We're all really excited to be hosting this live Q&A. As many of you will know, at Happy Linen Company, we want to make bedtime a dream for kids, parents and grandparents alike. And as part of giving back, we are currently in partnership with Together Trust charity, who deliver individual care, support education services in the Northwest, and alongside that, various sleep services as well. We'd love to welcome you all to our sleep talk with our sleep specialists, Sarah and Paige. And would you guys like to introduce yourselves and give a bit about you? That'd be fabulous. Thank you.
Yes, okay. So I'm Sarah. Hello, everybody. I'm part of the sleep team at Together Trust, as Rebecca said, and I've been with the trust now for about 4 years. I think it's gone really, really fast. But the service that I work in under Together Trust is I cover all of Rochdale, so I'm supporting all of the young people who have issues with their sleep. And many of the children that I work with have social communication difficulties, so things like autism and or ADHD. And my role kind of involves working really, really closely with the families that are on my caseload to help them get a better night's sleep, because we all know sleep makes us feel significantly better, doesn't it?
Definitely.
And alongside that, I also deliver sleep training for professionals. So this includes people like health workers, social workers, and schools. And I really enjoy this part of the role because they are quite often the people that are supporting those people on a one-on-one basis. So if they are skilled up on their sleep knowledge, then that all of that knowledge is then passed down to the families that they are working with. And I'm also a mum, so I've got a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old, neither of which slept well, which is a bit of a pain when this is my job. But they didn't sleep well when they were really, really small. So I really know what it's like to be deprived of sleep, and be in the depths of just drinking coffee after coffee after coffee, because my children didn't sleep well. But they sleep fine now, so that's good. And then outside of Together Trust, I also specialise in baby sleep for that reason, because I've worked with it
Wow.
hands-on.
So it's like you using your first-hand experience to kind of help with that section of it. That's really good.
Yeah, yeah. And that's
Oh,
me.
fabulous. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So I'm just saying before, I'm recovering from the flu, so I really do apologise if I start coughing out of nowhere. I'll quickly mute myself if that happens. Um, so my name is Paige. I'm just like Sarah, specialist sleep practitioner for the Together Trust Sleep Service. And I've worked at the sleep service now since 3 years. I think it's been 3 years. Sorry, I didn't plan on saying that, so I can't remember how long it's been. So I'm also an integrative therapist as well. So I've been working in sleep and mental health for around 6 years altogether. So yeah, just like Sarah, I work for the Together Trust Sleep Service, and I solely work on our Sleep Type Bradford contract at the moment, delivering sleep training to professionals, workshops, webinars, attending coffee mornings and things like that. So yeah, working with families on a one-to-one basis, day to day. And yeah, I guess very, very similar to what Sarah does, really. But then obviously, apart from on the side of the Together Trust, I'm a counsellor as well. So I've got, a real passion for mental health and sleep, and how I can help people in that way. So yeah, that's me. I'm going to go and cough now.
Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. A few weeks ago, we opened up the chance for people to ask some questions and pop over any queries, and we had a quite an enthusiastic response. So I'm just going to dive into question number one. So the first question is from someone anonymous. It says, "Hi, I have 2 children aged 4 and 2 years old. We have a consistent bedtime routine, and the 4-year-old goes to sleep easily and sleeps through the night. The 2-year-old sees bedtime as playtime and can take over an hour to settle, gets very upset if left on his own, but wanting to play if he has a parent in the room. Once he's finally asleep, he's guaranteed to wake up again at 1 a.m., sometimes settling easily and sometimes getting very cross and upset. I've spent a number of nights sleeping in his room with him. What can we do?"
Okay, so I'll take this one because I love working with the really teeny tiny ones. Okay, so thank you for your question, whoever sent this in. And you're definitely not alone with this one. This is something that comes up over and over and over. And a bedtime battle at this age is really, really common. And with a 2-year-old, they really know their own mind. They're quite stubborn, they know what they want. So it can be quite difficult because you can't reason with them. Okay, so there could be a few reasons why their 2-year-old is struggling compared to their 4-year-old. So the first thing to look at, they've not mentioned, but is whether their little one is having any day sleep. So if they've still got that nap or not. Okay, so most children are going to be dropping that daytime nap between the ages of around 2.5 to 3.5 years old. Because if you look at how much sleep you need over 24 hours, there's only so much that you need. And if some of that is being split on the day sleep and then some on the night sleep, it's going to take away from the night sleep if they no longer need that day sleep anymore. So depending how close this child is to dropping their nap, it could be that that day nap is having a big impact on the nighttime because they might simply just not need to go to sleep yet. Like they might need a later bedtime. And if they're going to bed when they're not ready to go to sleep, it means that during that time they're going to be finding lots and lots of other things to do. Like if you and I went to bed too early, I would be sat in bed making a shopping list. I would be planning meals. I'd be thinking about work. Yeah, like there's all these other things that we do to fill our time if we're not ready to go to sleep. So if this little one is getting in bed too early, that could be part of the reason why they start to engage in other kind of behavior, sorry, in other behavior that isn't sleeping. So it could be partly that. The other thing that they could look at is how they're going to sleep in the first place. So it could be that that child has just learned that they can only sleep when their parent or their carer is in there with them. So it could be a case they need to learn that skill if the parents are wanting to work on that, where they're fading their presence step by step by step. So if I think they said they're sleeping in the room, didn't they? They're one of the parents.
Sometimes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it could be the case of now that child is using that as a kind of association in that their brain and their body doesn't know how to sleep unless mum's there. So it would be a case of fading out mum step by step by step by step. And I wouldn't just leave the room because they mentioned that they become quite upset, they start crying. So instead of being like on their bed or in the bed, they could be sat on a chair by the bed and then fade out over the period of like a week or maybe 2 weeks, but at whichever rate they feel happy moving at. And each stage is going to be met with a little bit of resistance, and this is very normal. But the parent will be there with them, being being responsive. Now, the last element of this was the night waking. So they were saying that they're waking up at around 1 a.m. Again, this could be linked to if they're having too much sleep during the day. So if they are still napping by 1 a.m., they've had a really decent chunk of sleep plus that sleep in the day, and they just need to build up a bit more sleep pressure before going to bed. So how like tired they feel before they go to bed, but also how are the parents responding during that night waking? So are they wanting the parent or carer to go back into the room? Like what is it that mum or dad are doing, and what is it that they can do to keep on scaling that back bit by bit by bit so that they can go to sleep on their own? So in short, number one, check if they are napping, check if their nap is still needed or whether a later bedtime is needed. Number two, look at how their little one is going to sleep in the first place and whether they're able to do that independent of a parent being there. And number three, think about like whether their presence is keeping their child awake a little bit more. Oh, the other thing I wanted to add as well, just before I forget, it could be that the 2-year-old is using this as a time to have one-on-one time with the parent. Because if there's the 4-year-old and the 2-year-old, he or she might see that as a time to really spend that one-on-one time with a parent or carer. So they could try and incorporate that as part of the bedtime routine, so that all of that child's needs are like being met, and they get that really nice time with their parent carer first, so that when they go to bed, it's like their kind of tank has already been filled up of all of that one-on-one time. Yeah.
No, thank you very much for that. It's sometimes things that aren't obvious but so simple. to do to kind of help move it along and to get to a full night's of sleep. So thank you very much for that.
You're very welcome.
Paige, did you want to add anything, or shall I move on to the next question? Yeah, no
No,
worries.
we've got it.
The second question is from Danny, and she is asking, how can I help my child to sleep who is scared of the dark?
Okay, lovely. Thank you, Danny, for the question. So lots of children do go through a stage of being afraid of the dark. And, while it can feel quite frustrating at bedtime, it is a really normal part of development. The key is to help them feel safe and even kind of celebrate the dark instead of having them dread it. So things I usually recommend is making the dark seem fun or like a fun place to be. So playing with glow sticks, talking about the stars, or even doing kind of making glow in the dark slime or art together, things like that that they can hang up in their room. Add comfort with night lights, having a soft glow lamp or even kind of a special flashlight that's theirs to use can help. Sometimes a room camp out together can help them see that the bedroom is a fun, safe place, even when it is dark. There's a book as well I usually recommend called Good Night Moon, which slowly dims with each page, and this can kind of ease the transition into sleep. But I guess the most important thing is that we want children to feel that their fears are understood, they're not silly. We can encourage them to talk about these fears before the routine starts, ideally. We want to kind of validate their feelings while also giving them tools and ideas to feel more confident. And then that balance kind of helps children to feel safe and empowered and things like that. I always think it's so understandable, why children feel scared in the dark. It's they're not in the dark in the day, and in the day they're always supervised, and then they're all of a sudden in a room at night time in the dark and by themselves, and it's a little bit scary. So yeah, that's usually what I would recommend. Just making it feel like a positive place to be, it's not so scary.
Definitely. And I suppose they're not, yeah, like you said, they're not anywhere near, like the light is where everybody is all the time during the day, and then they're on their own and in the dark. It's kind of a very daunting kind of time for them.
Yeah.
So no, that's fabulous advice. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Another question we've got is, what type of thing can we do in the hour leading up to bedtime to improve the bedtime?
Okay, I'll take this one as well. So the last hour before bedtime is really important because it kind of sets the tone for bedtime and for sleep as well. So I often call it the wind down window, or the just winding down time. And I usually say just think about creating a routine that feels calm and predictable and a little bit special in a way. This might mean starting with switching off lights or dimming lights in the house, because that indication from light to dark is what helps to release the prompt of melatonin. So, and then maybe moving into quieter activities. So reading, drawing, listening to gentle music, or maybe doing a puzzle together. Just to kind of to start that winding down period, and then completing just a short and sweet routine, not too long, around 45 minutes to an hour long, that ends with getting into bed. And that consistency does really help. If the same sequence happens every night, children's bodies and brains start to recognize those cues for sleep. And the key is just to keep things calm, connection focused, so bedtime feels safe and predictable, just not rushed and stressful, as I'm sure many people will appreciate. Yeah, thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you very much for that. And Sarah, I know you have had a couple of questions regarding the clock changes and how that affects sleep. So did you want to dive into that and expand on that question?
Yeah, so we've got the clock change coming at the end of October, which for a lot of parents, it just fills them with dread. They're thinking, oh, oh no, like how on earth am I going to handle this, especially with this one? And when you've got an early riser, it can feel that little bit more scary. So, the end of October, the clocks are going back an hour. and it can really throw sleep off for a few days. Especially like I said, if you've got a child that is quite an early riser, because that 5 a.m. wake up then becomes 4 in the morning. So it can feel really, really, really scary. But here are some ways that you can manage it over I would do this in the week before the clock change. So you've really got two options. You can either do something or you can do nothing, So you need to pick one of those. Now, if you're going to do something, then I would do a gradual shift in that week run up to the clocks going backwards. And what that looks like is you're going to push that bedtime later by 10 to 15 minutes every like 1 or 2 days, because we want to get them past that 7 a.m. uh, we want to get them past that 7 a.m. wake up time, because if they were waking up at 6, that would be 5. If they're waking up at 7, then that will be 6. So we're just trying to shift it bit by bit by bit in that run up to the clock change. So what that would look like is, if your child usually goes to bed at 8 p.m., you would make that 8:15, then 8:30, then 8:45, and then 9. So you're going to shift it later. Then when the clocks have changed, now they're going to bed at 9, but on the new time, that's now 8. So that now you're back at the place where you were before the clocks went backwards. So if you're going to do something that week before, step by step by step by step. Now you can do the same with the meals, with naps, if they are still napping, is that you can just start to kind of shift it bit by bit by bit. And then by the time the clock change happens, their body clock will already be on the new time, which is fab. Now, the other option is to do nothing and just go with the flow. So you could put them to bed a little bit later if you wanted to, that night of the clock change, and then just see what happens, basically. Um, I I I have two children, like I said, and each of them like a different approach. For my eldest, we just do nothing, and it just kind of fixes itself within a night. But with my youngest, he's very sensitive to sleep pressure being built. So with him, we probably will start doing something, the week before. So even if you've got more than one child, you might need to do different things for different children, basically. Now, the other things that you can do that might help you with the clock change is making sure that in the morning they're getting access to lots and lots of nice sunlight on their skin. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to eat your breakfast in the garden, but if you're by a window, make sure the blinds and the curtains are open, and get as much daylight on their skin as you can, because then that's going to kind of give their circadian rhythm, which is your internal body clock, a big kind of shove to know that it's the daytime now. Okay. And it is going to start getting darker soon on the evenings when that clock change goes back. And the other thing is just try and be patient. Like, it can take a little bit of time. Even if you do nothing and it all kind of goes backwards, their body clocks will get back on track. It will, but it could take about 3 to 7 days. So it can take a little bit of time. So yeah, that's your two options. Do something, do nothing, get daylight on their skin in the morning, adjust meal times and nap times. And if your child is an early riser, then this gradual shift can be a little bit easier for them to do in the week before.
Well, no, thank you so much. That was really helpful.
Welcome.
Yep, that's it with the questions. Have you got anything else you'd like to add, or any other questions you've had that you think would be helpful?
I don't think I have.
No, I don't think so. Just thank you, for again hosting another live Q&A for us, and obviously for the viewers, and for having us involved, and yeah, the partnership.
No, of course, and we thank you guys as well, because this is always so helpful and everybody always asks lots of questions. So no,
Yeah.
thank you very much. I'll put a link down below for your website and our website. So if anybody has any other questions, queries, go over to the website, our website, or pop us a message,
Yeah.
and we'll get back to you guys.
On our Sorry,
You
Rebecca.
go
On
for it.
our website, the Together Trust Sleep Service website, if you click on it, there's some downloadable advice sheets and things on there that people can have a look at for under twos and for over twos as well. I think there's still a webinar on there as well that people can look at, and obviously the previous video with yourselves, there's some clips and things like that there. So yeah, that's just the Together Trust Sleep Service website if anyone wants to check any of that out as well.
Perfect. No, thank you very much. Thank you guys and everyone who's been watching. And I'll just sign it off there.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Happy Friday.
Hang on, let me